What's up, everybody? It is Lauren deLisa Coleman here with you, giving you another episode during the Sundance Film Festival 2022 for the Inside series for film.io. And I'm really excited to bring you this next filmmaker all the way from the UK. I want to welcome John Ogunmuyiwa. I've been practicing that, you guys, but it's still a little bit... I want to welcome him to the Inside series, to this episode. We had a little bit of trouble connecting before, so this is like a real coup. And I want you guys to listen to this because it's all about one of my favorite subjects, hair. John, welcome to the show. Congrats for being selected in Sundance, first of all. John has a great film called Precious Hair and Beauty, and I want to kick it off by letting him tell you guys what it's all about. So, John, tell us all about Precious Hair and Beauty.
Precious Hair and Beauty. It's maybe like a project that's taken quite a while to get off the ground, but it's something that I always kind of feel like it's about trying to bring people into like the world of the world and the people that I'm kind of familiar with and the stories that we see. I'm from South London, and it's basically an ode to the ness and the wonderfulness of the high street, because we have high streets where you have I guess you'd have groceries, like mini marts, hair shops, salons, sports shops, everything. All
the spot. That's like the spot.
The spot, yeah. Like what you need, you can get. It's there. But what comes with that is you get a plethora of like different kind of people, from like, hood guys to yummy mummies to students to gentrifiers. You see comedy, romance, tragedy, and Precious Hair and Beauty is kind of an ode to that, all kind of told through the gaze of a West African Nigerian hair salon. So we're looking out through the hair salon onto the street as stuff happens and they come in. We see it happen inside, outside, and it has a bit of a magic. There's a magic to the high street, I think.
Yeah. And there's a magic as well for people who may not know or have ever been in one. When you go into either a barbershop or a hair salon for people of color, it is a whole nother world, a whole nother gathering place. All such places are that, right? But I think I feel like it's because of the amount of time that it takes a lot of times for our hair, for intricate braids, weaves, etc. You are there, you guys. You can be for hours, right? Even for natural hair, it's just like a long thing. It is a thing, right? You don't schedule anything after because you don't know when you're getting out, and it's just a whole thing. So I love how you've decided to bring viewers into this world. I guess first, tell me a little bit about, in your opinion, and for those who haven't seen it, how does this differ from maybe some other hair centric films that we have maybe seen in the past? I guess particularly from the US, this became kind of a thing, whereas before it was maybe not really talked about how we cared for our hair, pressing combs or whatever. It was very inside the culture. Then I guess maybe starting, I don't know, I want to say maybe with Chris Rock's a film on hair, maybe that was the breakthrough film that was maybe more widely distributed, right? There had been some maybe smaller things coming up, but this is more wide. And so we've seen a number of different like kind of takes on this, whether it is looking at hair's oppression or whatever. Tell me how your film actually differs from those few others that have preceded. And I feel like Sundance, at least for the last couple of years, has given an ode, maybe, I don't know if it's just by chance, to like some film about black hair, right? There'll be this inclusion, right? And I just find it very interesting. So tell us how yours is a little bit different.
I guess like culturally.
It's a lot different, actually.
Yeah, I guess I think it's interesting because I guess there's nuances between having like black hair salons and black barbershops, and I guess depending on where you are, there's even a more of a greater kind of nuance, which I think the beautiful thing, which I think is that just by the nature of kind of, let's say, having like these black spaces, we can all kind of relate. But then, going into, say, the barbershop or salon, I don't know, in Brooklyn might be different to going like into maybe in Philadelphia or I don't know, or in, for example, in Colombia. Like maybe I remember there was a time when I was traveling and I went to this hair salon to get my hair done, and it was Colombia, but it was a black barbershop slash salon. And I went in, and obviously I couldn't speak Spanish, but like, I was like, oh, I know this vibe, I know it, but then there's obviously different kind of nuances. So they're making jokes, but I don't understand, but I do kind of get it. And I guess with this, with Precious, it was kind of about like, obviously there's this aspect of, we have quite a lot of like a first generation or well, not even first generation, people have come straight from, say, Nigeria, Ghana, Jamaica, and obviously kids have now become generation, like second, third generation. But so they've been here, and then their shops almost still had that space, that essence. It's almost like stepping into kind of a mini Lagos or a mini kind of Jamaica inside the shop. And I guess where maybe it might different to it from others is sometimes I find, well, usually it's always kind of looking inwards and just focusing on what's going on inside and the people inside and the types of stories from the people inside the shop. Whereas I guess with Precious, what I kind of really wanted to do was bring everyone into this world of, say, Auntie, she is Nigerian, and so inside the shop they're speaking Yoruba, but they're also English because they've been here. So then it's having kind of their world and how they react with, the passing the street. Because when you step inside the shop, you feel like you're in a space, but the rest of the world is still going on. And so it's really, really wanted to kind of see how, how they comment on the romance going on, or see the crazy guy outside the street. And it's kind of trying to give them open up the voices for more perspectives and kind of show how, different worlds can operate in the same space. And just kind of,
I love that, how different like worlds can exist within kind of the same space. That's a great way to be able to put it. Tell me a little bit about how you came to this story, because I know you said you've been in barbershop before, while you were traveling or whatever, but this is like kind of more quintessentially like from a female perspective. Tell me how you got into or drawn to this, number one, and number two, tell me what it was like to shoot this, because hair, that transition that happens a lot of times is oftentimes private, so you're not trying to have people document it, so to speak. So give me the backstory on all this, John.
So I'm wearing my hat. It's a bit rough right now, but I usually get my hair done, and so I've actually experienced the pain of not being the first one in the chair, just going and
that's the best way to put it.
Yeah, because I'm sure like you said earlier, like you better not plan anything afterwards, because you're not sure, 10 minutes would be 2 hours and you're still waiting to get your hair done. And so like just, drawing these experiences and going to go get my hair done in, say, like a Nigerian English kind of salon. I'm just there, and it's not even, I find it quite interesting because it's the world around, like they have their own world, they're on the phone, they're talking, things are going on, children are running about, and I found it was quite an interesting place to just sit and just sit, because all they want from me is to just sit there. They don't really want to chat. Sometimes a couple lines here and there, but most times they're not. It's they're on the phone, there's music going on. And so whilst I was just in this space, I just thought there's so much, it's so interesting, and we never really get to hear from these type of aunties. And it was quite, I was like, oh, this is really fun. And naturally things happened. Like, I remember a few different occasions. One time I was sitting looking out the window, and then at first everyone's playing, the children outside are playing. Then so one of the children's fallen over, then the aunties have gone out, then they're like, where's this child? And then you find the child's across the road, then child comes in, and they're like, oh, bad child. And it was like, oh my gosh, this has been from like bants to drama to comedy, and it's like all in like this like time, like 10-20 minutes. And I just thought, oh, so interesting. And obviously I guess like where we kind of go get our hair done is quite a space here where it's almost kind of filtered naturally, because it's like the state, it's the between state, which is kind of interesting. Like you don't go there ready, you usually come out ready. So whilst you're in there, things are happening, and it's kind of the transitional state, which I thought would be quite an interesting way to show, or perspective to show.
I just think that that's so amazing. We obviously know each other's worlds, and the level of professionalism is it's a whole nother story when you're dealing in that space. Like you said, it's the kids, whatever. But talk to me about any like maybe hurdles or whatever that you had to overcome to shoot the film. I mean, how big was the crew, and like I said, how welcomed were you into this space? Did you have to do convincing, like, a little bit of John charisma there, or what happened?
So it's quite interesting. Like, I think I spoke to quite a few, I guess like a lot of, it was really one of the things that I was trying to make sure was kind of get this level of authenticity. So when I was talking to, for example, our characters, Tomi, our main characters, Auntie, and Kemi, Tomi, Ogunjobi, and Kemi Lofumaki. I just kind of wanted to kind of, I guess, have some sort of, make sure that what we were kind of doing felt quite authentic and quite natural. And so when we were talking about it, just making sure that, this isn't, and I guess with the whole thing and every kind of scene was trying to make sure this isn't kind of like, we're not just looking at this from an objective point of view of like, look at the jokes that goes on here. It's kind of actually, this is a profession. And then there's like people, say 10 minutes, but the reality is they're saying 10 minutes because they need the clients, or they want the clients, and they don't want to lose the clients. And so it's quite important in terms of like chatting to, especially with the aunties, making sure it felt quite natural to them. And weirdly enough, funny enough, I think one of the hurdles was actually the space, because to try and find a salon was tricky. We actually got a barbershop and converted it through set design. And that took one of the longest times because I guess by nature, there's a bit in the film, which I won't give too much away, which is a bit technical. And because of that, it required that we needed space. But then actually, especially in the UK, a lot of salons are on the main road. So, and this it's not a super big film, so we don't have shut down road money. So we're trying to find like control a little bit, but not get too much in other people's way. And so that was quite a big hurdle, just trying to find that space. And then the crew was, and actually tell a lie, one of the biggest hurdles was COVID. Pandemic. We shot like we had in the UK, we had a bit of a break. And that was where they relaxed the rules a bit, but that was still, I think it was 2020 we shot, so it was still very like peak. And so having to manage the social distancing and make sure people, because I think it was still rampant, and it was that, so that was quite a bit of a hurdle. And then doing remote kind of organizing and production and trying to make sure everyone's that was kind of one of the biggest hurdles, but we overcame. It was a good team. Shout out Tony Longe and Sophia Gibber, our producers, kind of came together. But it's cool. And I guess like one of the biggest things was the technical. I feel like getting to that was the hardest bit, but actually
talk to me a little bit about your background, John, how you kind of came to this point in your career and decided to do this particular film. Give our viewers, please, just a little bit of backstory, I guess, on John as a filmmaker.
Cool. So I've been shooting I do photography. So I started kind of shooting in stills, and then, just start making stuff with my friends and made some like rubbish music videos. Now I'm hopefully making better music videos, but kind of through the idea of just kind of creating and shooting. And there was an opportunity a few years ago that was quite like just like an open fund thing. And I applied and I got it. And up until then, it was all really DIY, kind of, editing it yourself, shooting yourself, coming up with ideas. And through that kind of fund, they had just a little bit of cash just to be able to get, another person, like someone else to hold the camera. And from then it kind of, I was like, oh, and it worked out. It was a film called Wilson, and I was like, oh, this isn't terrible. And then from then I kept making stuff. And alongside whilst I was making stuff, I was working creative advertising, so coming up with ideas for brands, and that was cool because it's like writing TV scripts and trying to get to like core ideas, and like just trying to get to really like what's the essence of something, what's it in its succinct version. And so then that kind of started applying to the stuff I was trying to do on the side, which like the films, kind of really got us here. And this idea just came about when I started on my hair journey, just going into the salons. I just remember just like things would just happen because you're just sitting there for so long. I guess it's like 2 hours, 3 hours, depending on how long, hour and a half if they're super quick, but you're just there. And I think through the observation, I was just like, oh, this is quite interesting. And things were just naturally happening. I was like, world like just naturally weird. And what if we kind of add a little bit of a twist to it? And why can't we have a bit more, sci-fi, or why can't our world be a bit more magical? Because it is when you see some wild stuff. I don't know, like in the South, you see some mad stuff.
Right.
You just
I love it. And then here you are at Sundance Film Festival. Did you anticipate that while you were, sitting waiting to get your hair done that day? I bet not, right? So how did it come about? You were just like, you know what, this is so hot, I'm gonna like submit this to Sundance. Or had you submitted anything before and this was just a ritual for you? I know filmmakers have, just kind of a different process, right? Some just feel really inspired, and some do it, who I've spoken to, like every single film just so they know and they can check that box. How was it for you?
I guess it's a big thing. It really is a big thing. Like, I guess because it's kind of before you get into film, about Sundance. Like, you just kind of know about it. Like, even when I talk to my girlfriend or my friends, because obviously not to discredit any other festival, but you tell them film festivals, they're like, yeah. But then they're like, oh, I know that one. And so it's always kind of been, and I guess sometimes I guess we make to just make. And I always think the idea is to just try and get it out there to as many people as possible. And obviously that's why festivals, I think, are really good in a sense, because I guess the platform allows us to kind of share, and hopefully we can get the film out. But I think it was, to be honest, it was really, I'm still quite shocked and quite humbled because I've applied, but I guess the first 2 times with my other films, with my first film, I didn't know what I was doing. I was just applying to festivals. And then with my second, I just kind of again. And so I was like, oh, you know what? It would be nice. It would be amazing. But, I'm just like, it's a creme de la creme. So it's okay. I think. And so when we found out we got it, I was just like, what? It was like a mad.
That's just amazing. So what do you hope people take away from the film most, John? I know we've talked about a lot of elements around it and all, but what do you hope? I hope people get an insight to maybe parts of London that I think aren't always kind of shown on a global sense, because I guess it's a unique sense of, I don't know, you hear the accents and you might not go, that's London, but actually that's part of the UK, which I think might just be quite interesting. And also, like, our stories are magical, like I think like there's magic in our worlds and our everyday, and I think actually we can play on that. It doesn't always have to be super drama. I love drama, but like there's magic in drama and comedy and tragedy all in there. Yes. And I love that. Love it. And I guess finally, what tips might you have for any other newer filmmakers out here who are watching this? Just either, I don't know, in terms of technique or ideas, working with teams, anything that you discovered while working on this project with your team that, you want to just kind of share, or that surprised you, that was helpful, or anything? I'll say maybe work to the medium. I think shorts are a really fun medium because actually you don't have to do a full film. Like, you don't need to, that there's 15, 12 minutes, 10 minutes. And actually you don't, because of the limitations of the time, you can really maximize that. So maybe you dramatize one moment and
or a day, as opposed to it being like 10 years or whatever, or trying to have this, because everything has a beginning, middle and end. But I think actually when you lean into the constraints of the format, you can get really interesting and amazing shorts. And I guess the other thing would be your stories are they're all valid. So I think you should definitely, the story, because sometimes that's what puts people off. Oh, this isn't that interesting. But actually, you living your life has already put yourself in a different lane. So if you tell your story, you know, add some pepper, add some salt, add a bit of seasoning, it'd be very, very interesting. So you should definitely follow through with that.
I love that. Love that. Anything else you want to add, John, before we go?
I just want to say thank you. Thank you. Thanks for chatting. I'm glad again.
My pleasure. My pleasure. Oh, and how can we stay up on what you're going to be doing next?
Oh, yeah.
And or more about this film, etc. What's your social, all that other good stuff? Bring it on.
Yeah, sick. Yeah, the film's called Precious Hair Beauty, as I'm sure by the title. I'm John Ogunmuyiwa, and my socials, that's kind of where you find me. I'm on Twitter and Instagram at JOHNOGUNZ, John Oguns. And yeah, I think hopefully, bigger, better. And I'm glad. I'm hoping one day we'll be able to come in person and come back again and be here in real life. But yeah,
right. That's for sure. For sure, definitely in real life. John, I wish you the absolute best. I could just feel your cool and fun energy through Zoom, and I just hope that you just keep doing your thing there for real. I haven't been to London in several years, so just being able to connect with this is great. And I am one of those kind of people who's like, I got to be in all the hot spots in London, but I also got to be where the real people are doing their thing, and everybody's just kicking it, whatever. It just really it helps you to connect with that world. And so you guys, I hope you get to see it again. It's Precious Hair and Beauty by John Ogunmuyiwa, right?
Yeah, there we go.
And you have to break it into the syllables. And I'm just so glad that we could bring you this episode. Definitely click on the very next interview that we have for you from Sundance. So many hot things. Nobody is bringing it to you like we are here at the Inside Series. I am, as always, deLisa Coleman for Film.io. Thank you for watching.